Hey, what's good? What's good? We back. One and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast. We about to bring on a special guest, but before I do, real quick, I just want to say, rest in peace to Ron Daughtery, Savage Combat Sports. Really sad day for the BKFC community, and just a sad day in general. Really great guy. I've only known him for what his family has to go through. And rest in peace to Ron, man. Savage Combat Sports, man. We in the fight, brother, man. So let me bring on the next guest. And according to our next guest, we living in the Rivera era. He's undefeated, 5-0, number 2 ranked bare knuckle featherweight in the world. We'll be fighting June 19th in Nashville, BKSC Fight Night versus Trey Martin. Let's bring on the one and only Nathan the Reaper Rivera.
How's it
Nathan, how
going,
you doing,
Paul? How
man?
are you, sir?
Glad to have you on here, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, I saw you interviewing the Bare Knuckle show, and I was like, man, this is a really great guy. I got to interview this guy, man.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, man, anytime. So before we get into the fight, I just want to get into maybe some past questions, standard questions. Let's start with the nickname. Who gave you the nickname the Reaper?
So the Reaper comes from is from my first boxing coach. He's my current
Okay.
boxing coach as well. He's from Red Hook, New York. He's this Puerto Rican dude, and he said he loved how the Reaper Rivera went together. And I was like, he always
Yeah.
giving people nicknames in the gym, and I was like, yeah. I don't know. I don't really love it, but as you know, nicknames they don't really you don't choose them. They choose you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he started calling me that, and everybody started calling me that. I never called myself that, and then I remember one of my last amateur fights, the ring announcer called me Nathan the Reaper Rivera, and then ever since then it was. I mean, once you get announced on the mic, it's over with, bro.
Mhm.
It's stuck.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
it kind of stuck there.
Especially when Jeff Houston is saying it, man, because he's like the best.
Oh man, dude, he's the best. And man, he does a great job, man. He gets me fired up.
So, did you do MMA before bare knuckle?
I did. Yeah, I did. I had I started out in MMA. I was 4-3 as an amateur. All my wins were by knockout, and they were pretty quick. And all by my hands as well. I had a Muay Thai fight. I did a lot of boxing fights, USA boxing fights, and was kind of really just gathering just experience and knowledge so I could go and become a professional in MMA. And I went pro in MMA. Um, and so I had one pro fight, and then I was like, "Oh man, I want to check out this bare knuckle thing." And it wasn't necessarily like a full switch over, like it wasn't
Hmm.
a career switch. I was like, "Let me just go do a fight," and then I kind of fell in love with it. So 5 fights later, I'm here.
Well, you seem like a really nice guy. Why would a nice guy like you want to get into bare knuckle, like something that's considered really brutal?
Man, I love competing. I love fighting. I don't think that as far as brutality goes, I don't know if bare
Mhm.
knuckles in the top of the leaderboard for that. I've seen some
Okay,
of my
okay.
my best friends, family members, like people I consider family, like you're taking damage in MMA. I mean, you are taking knees to the head, you're taking head kicks, you're taking elbows to the face.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
on the ground, you get dropped. There's no ref to give you an 8 count. I think
yeah.
for bare knuckle goes, I think it's superficially, obviously a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. Superficially, I think it's obviously a little bit worse for the face
Hmm.
because obviously the cuts, but the cuts are what heal. The cuts are what you can go home and see your family with cuts. There's the brain is I think protected a whole lot better in the bare knuckle game, and that's really what my main focus is protecting my brain.
Well, based on how you broke it down, when you had countries like Australia, I heard at first was saying they didn't want to have bare knuckle because it was too brutal and stuff like that. So you think they're possibly over exaggerating how brutal it is?
Yeah, I think it's easier to just say. no than say yes, right? Without looking at all the data. I think it's easier to just be like, no, too brutal. Like it takes
Yeah,
time, it takes money, it takes resources for a country to look at the data and go, man, this actually is a
yeah,
lot safer. And then you never know, like with politics, when it comes to introducing a new sport and a new commission, these people might want to really have this thing like locked down monopoly wise for
yeah,
MMA.
yeah,
You never know how it goes down on the
yeah.
outsides, the stuff that we don't see. And I'm just speculating. I've seen that happen in on the local scene. I don't know if that's happening with Australia, but I do know that they just recently went over there, and I think it was a great show. So I'm excited for them to go back over there.
So you're BKFC featherweight. You're ranked number two. How close do you think you are to a title shot?
I don't know, man. That's been the biggest question of my camp. Has been like, when's the next title shot? When's the next title shot? And I don't know. It could be the next fight. It could be in 3 fights from now. Who knows? I want to continue to get these high level opponents and show why I should be next at some point. I don't know if even next is the right word. And we got Edgar Plazaola ahead of me. He's 6-0.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if his last fight was against Gary Fox, which was a great fight. That was a UK
yeah,
champion. Good. It's a really really good name to have on your belt. I know my last fight
yeah.
was Tommy Stratum. A former number one contender. The only person to give him a loss other than myself was the champ, and he took him to a decision, and I put him away in the third round. So, I think that number one, number two, and even number three. I mean, it's hard to deny a Brian Duran that's 8-1 or something crazy. I mean, his only loss was to the belt. He's been looking great. I don't know if I'll be next. I don't know. I don't know that. All I know is what's next for me personally is Trey
Hmm.
Martin on June 19th.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Trey Martin. Do you feel like this fight could be any similar to maybe the Castro fight?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know he's a similar frame. I think he has
Uh-huh.
so Castro it's so funny because you look on paper and you go, "Oh man, 1-0 versus 5-0."
Yeah.
But you do a little bit of digging and you do some research and you go, "Oh man, this guy's had 18 professional boxing fights. He's had a Muay Thai fight as a pro. He's had a kickboxing fight as a pro. He was 6-3 as an amateur. So he has a ton of experience. His experience far outweighs my experience as a professional. I only have, including my one professional MMA fight, I only have 6 pro fights. So um, I think that in that aspect, I think it is same because I think Castro, he had 10 wins and 9 losses as a professional in MMA. Um, that's a lot of fights. That's a lot of professional fights.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was I wasn't even training when he made his professional debut, much less like an amateur. So with Trey Martin, I think it's the same kind of thing. He has a lot of experience. He has a similar frame to Alex Castro. Um,
Hmm.
but I think he's younger. I think he's hungry. I think he wants what I have, in the ranking. So we're gonna get a really hungry Trey Martin.
Yeah, because I mean, if he was to possibly beat you, that would shake the rankings up like crazy.
Oh yeah, it'd be it's for him, he has nothing to lose.
Yeah,
You know,
he has
he has
everything to gain. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's something that I think is really, really, really that it could be used to his advantage if he plays his cards right. That mentality is special.
Well, what stands out most when you watch his film?
Yeah, he's really durable, dude. That guy, he's
Okay.
very durable. I mean, I saw a cut open up on his forehead the size of his eye socket, and I mean, it was he just doesn't stop. He keeps going. I don't think he's ever been finished before, so I know he believes in himself. But I think one thing that will stand out um, with him, I think what he's riding on right now is his experience. I've seen him say it multiple times, like, man, my experience outweighs my opponent. Which I do think that has a play, but man, this is bare knuckle. This is not boxing. This is not MMA. This is bare knuckle. And when it comes to bare knuckle, he's nowhere near me.
Well, so bare knuckle is basically a lot of guys that came from boxing or MMA. I mean, how much of that really helps you in this sport?
I think I think having a good mix of MMA and bare knuckle, I think, really helps you. There's certain things that you can do in boxing that you absolutely cannot do in bare knuckle. There's certain
Yeah,
things that you can do in MMA that you can absolutely not do in bare knuckle. One thing I think that crosses over very well is the you have to be somewhat of elusive in MMA because 4 ounce gloves are small. There's not a lot of padding on them, so
yeah,
you can't really
yeah,
go and guard like that. I mean, you have to
yeah.
utilize your footwork and your head movement. So I think that aspect from MMA I think really helps, and then obviously the aspect from boxing that I think helps for bare knuckle is just the use of your hands with nothing else, the head movement that you can do. You don't have to worry about getting knees or kicks, like I said, so you can dip your head real low. So I think if you have a little bit of experience in both, I think it could be a really really good recipe for a great bare knuckle fighter.
So, do you expect this fight to be like a technical battle or all out war? I'm thinking he's going to want to try to make it an all out war.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's gonna want to be coming on the inside and staying
Yeah,
there with hooks, with overhooks. That's going to be his primary game plan, I would assume. I don't think that he would want to box me on the outside. It could be his game plan. I don't know how well that would work. I've
yeah.
quite a bit longer reach. I've a little bit more height on him, but coming from his last fight, I mean, he wanted to live in that clinch. So I haven't been able to show my inside fighting much. I haven't had to, I should say, right? If I can go into a fight and leave the same way I came in there with no cuts on my face and fight from the outside, I'll do so. But I have this really really good inside game that I'm very excited to show to somebody whenever that time comes.
Is clinching more important in this combat sport than any other? Because it feels, as a fan watching it really feels like it is.
Yeah, I think the fights, if you can control and do damage in the clinch, I think that it could be a game changer. I see a lot of guys that they clinch and they kind of little rabbit shots or on the ribs a little bit, and it's like
Yeah,
it can be good if you have a really really good gas tank. Like I think Kai Stewart's probably the best at that. Is like not really inflicting a ton of damage, but being just in your face all the time and just hitting you a lot. They might not put he might not put a lot behind these shots, but
yeah.
man, you look at the scoreboard and he's wiping people out with punch count and stuff like that. So I think if you can master that style of volume with also some heavy shots that do damage, I think the clinch could be super, super beneficial.
Yeah, I really love Roberto Armas. His style was super clinch heavy. He's coming at you nonstop, man. And he's
Yeah, very
smiling the whole
similar to
time that
Kai
he's
too.
doing it.
Yeah, very similar to Kai as
Yeah.
well. Like they have almost the similar, like the same blueprint almost.
So do you think Trey Martin has faced anyone with your level of pressure and aggression?
Yeah, yeah. I think he's definitely not in bare knuckle, obviously, but I think in boxing, I'm sure he's faced a lot of people
Mm.
they fight like me, but again, this is not boxing. So like in bare knuckle, I don't think he has had that look yet. He's only had one fight, and it was against a really good athlete. I think he was like 13-2 in MMA. A UFC prospect. I think he was working his way to being in the UFC. He was really good on the regional scene. And I think his name was Garib. But yeah, just a totally different style from what I'm bringing.
Did you train with I think the Lima team?
Yeah, yeah, that's the gym that I'm at right now. I'm at American Top Team Lima. So that is Douglas Lima. He's the Bellator World Champion. He knocked out MVP. Um, he won the tournament. I think he was a three-time defending world champion. And then Diego Lima, he was in the Ultimate Fighter twice. UFC vet. I think his last fight was against Bilal Muhammad. So yeah, just there's a really really good gym that I come out of, and then I train in my boxing gym in the morning, so I get a little bit best of both worlds there.
So how has like training with the Lima team influenced your style?
Uh, you know, I train. It's really just being with these high level guys, man. And we have a lot of
Mm.
guys in our gym that are very high level, and like I mean, the we go to the local. I mean, I think we had at one point. I think it's still probably the case. I mean, we had like every single amateur belt in like the local circuit, like from
Oh
25 to
man.
heavyweight. So we just have so many good guys, and now all of those amateurs, which was a couple years ago or maybe a year ago, they're all transitioning to being professional. So it's like we just have a stable of guys that are hungry and they're really good. And what's really good for me is that there's a lot of 35, 45, and 55ers there. So I get a wide range of, tall skinny guy, or short muscular guy, or more defensive, more aggressive. So I have a wide range. Anytime I step on the mat, I could pick a new partner and have 10 different 45ers, all with different styles.
So what does your family think about you bare knuckle fighting?
Well, my I mean, so my wife, she likes it. I mean, she doesn't have any. At first, she was like, "That's a little crazy, right?" From MMA, and then when I kind of explained it to her, she was like, "Okay, let's do it." But they definitely are behind me. This is my full time job. They see me supporting my immediate family with this, and they believe me. They'd be here for me if it was underwater basket weaving. They support me, and they really they care about me.
Now, is there any more pressure on you? You think being that you're ranked and he's not going into this fight?
Yeah, yeah, always pressure, and I love it, man, because pressure. I think a lot of people interpret pressure as bad, and
Yeah,
pressure is,
yeah,
is just what it is. It's pressure, and it's how you handle that can be used for good or for bad, right? And I think I've
yeah.
mastered. Um, I always call it like my superpower. Like I think I handle pressure very well, and whenever I have more pressure, I think I perform 10 times better. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure, and I love it, man.
So June 19th, what is that? How many days away? That's 13, like 13 days away?
No,
Or
I think
less
it's
than that,
about
right?
10 days away now. Yeah, so it would be a week from this Friday.
10 days away, 10, 11 days away. So after June 19th, what do you want people to say about Nathan the Reaper Rivera?
Oh man, they can say whatever they want, man. Whatever they want to say, they can say. Hopefully, they're saying my next fight. I want to stay active. Uh, I would love to get another two in before the end of the year. I don't know if it's possible, but I would love to maybe go to Florida and fight. I would love to go out of the country. I was
Yeah,
scheduled to fight this one guy in Canada, and he pulled out, so I didn't get to leave the country and fight. That's been always one of my
man.
dreams, is to
Yeah.
leave the country and experience another culture while also doing what I love. So I'd love some of those opportunities. But man, I think it'll be good. I don't know this, but I think it, when I go 6-0, I think that I might jump Edgar Plazaola in the rankings. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know who does the
Uh-huh.
rankings. But if I stay at number two, that's awesome. If I jump to number one, I think that'd be really cool too. You'll never hear me calling for the belt. I don't really do that. I'd like to just fight often, and I'd like to fight
Yeah.
who's above me in the rankings. So right now, who's above me in the rankings is Edgar Plazaola. So I'd love that fight next.
So, and I figured you wasn't a guy who called people out. You seem like a real nice guy. Some guys are performative with it, with calling out and stuff like that. Like you said, you just want to fight the guy above you. I mean, but at some point, like if you don't, you keep not getting that fight and you keep winning, don't you gotta call this guy out?
Yeah, maybe when I become number one contender and there's no one
Yeah,
above me. I don't know if you remember Kai's last fight was in Hollywood, and like Edgar Plazaola and Duran, they both jumped in the ring and they were like, "I'm next,
yeah,
I'm next, I'm
yeah,
next."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
man, they
yeah,
can have that, bro. They can have
yeah.
that. Let me get Duran and Plazaola, and let me show the world why I should be next. Like, I'm not gonna call for it.
Yeah.
I'll just, whoever thinks that they're next in line, let me get them. You know what I mean? And I'd like to go up in the rankings if possible.
And I'm pretty sure you got plenty of guys calling you out anyways, like in posting you and tagging you on social media, calling you out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of that. It was really hard for me to get a fight this time. Like, I think this was our sixth opponent that we had to go through. It would get down to the wire, and we were like, "Hey, man, do you
Mhm.
accept?" And we're like, we accept. And then we wouldn't hear anything back, or they would just price themselves out. It's been a common thing. Like guys will say like, yeah, we'll take that fight. We need like 15 extra $1,000, or like, it's just a crazy number that they know is probably not going to happen, and they just go, oh well, it's been something that I've been experiencing the last couple months. So when Trey came along, I was grateful. It showed me that he wasn't scared. It showed me that he was very game, and he's going to be a
Yeah.
really, really great opponent.
And for a guy like him, opportunity like this might not come again to fight a
Yeah.
guy who's ranked. You beat a guy who's number 2 ranked in his weight class in the world. I mean, people are looking at you differently, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's why I think my last fight was so. It was a really good showing for me because that opponent he was the former number one contender. So I was already in the top five, but I think I solidified my spot there when I beat the former number one contender. When I beat, and his only loss was a decision, and it was to the champ. So I was able to put that guy away in the third round, and come out of there untouched, really. So um, I think that fight really solidified why I belong there.
Well, I think your last 3 have been pretty good. I mean, you had Justin Street. He's 3-2. Castro, he might be 0-3, but he fought you and Edgar Plazio last two
He's
of
a
his 3
dog,
fights
man.
against ranked guys. And then, like you said, Tommy, who fought Kai for the belt. So
Yeah, and I think Justin Street he's another one of those guys, man, that his only two losses were me and a champion. I think it
yeah,
was Justin Ibarola. You know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah.
you hear a lot of talk of like Nathan hasn't fought anybody, and it's not from my. If you look at all of my past fights, I've called out. In Atlanta, I called out Tommy, Edgar, and then this guy from Canada. And after my Alex Castro fight, I called out this guy from Canada. The guy from Canada was 2-0. So I had called out a
Okay.
4-0, a 3-0, and a 2-0. And then in Clearwater, when I fought Castro, I called out a 2-0 guy. And then when I fought Tommy, I called out Edgar Plazaola, who was 6-0 at the time, or 5-0. So I'm calling for these really exciting fights. So, but people get this thing in their head where they think that opponents choose their other opponents. People think that fighters choose their
Yeah.
opponents, and it's just not the case, man. They come to me with a bunch of names or a name, and I accept it, and that's how it goes, man.
I mean, and that's the thing. There's a few interesting fights. Like if you win this one, which I be honest with you, I think you will. No disrespect to Trey, and Trey, I still want to interview you in the future. So, but I mean, you could fight Edgar, you could Duran, because he's trying to get back and get that title shot. James
Man, the whole top
Brown, I
five.
think
I mean,
James Brown would be a nice fight for you.
you got James Brown, you got Nico Gaffey, and then
Nico,
even outside of the top five, man, we just signed another guy that was Harry Gigliotti. That's another
yeah,
guy that
yeah, yeah,
he's not even in the rankings, and I think he might be like 8-0 or something, or maybe I don't know what his record is now, but man, that's another guy that like he's not even in the rankings, and he's a killer, man. We got that one guy Rico Disculo that said he's coming down to 45. He's 4-0.
okay, okay,
So
yeah.
dude, I think I don't know about you, but in my opinion, I think 45 could have a top 10. Like we have enough killers in this division that you could stack out a top 10, and I think it could be a really, really exciting division. I think it's
No,
turning into an exciting division as it is.
it is exciting, and you know what's crazy? I posted who's your favorite BKSC featherweight? That Nico Gaffey. That dude got some fans, yo.
Oh yeah.
Gosh,
Man, that
the
guy's a vet,
comments was
man.
flooded with Nico Gaffeys.
He's a vet, man. He fought like I think he had like 40 K1 Muay Thai fights.
Yeah,
Like in his, so he has a lot of experience. He's young, he's pretty athletic. He's really fast. So like that's another guy. It's hard to go and like, these guys that live across the country, it's hard to like make those fights as
yeah,
easy, I think,
yeah.
with flying them out here, flying their team out here and stuff like that. I kind of wish they would just abolish all of the UK and the European titles, and they would just have one world title. I think because then we could really have a top 10 in each division, because there's a lot of guys in the world.
and there's going to be a lot of attention on this division because, oh, I mean, Brian Duran, I mean, he is a cash cow. I give him, I gotta give him props. He's a cash cow.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, he does his thing, man. He sells out Miami, and he's exciting, and I think that's it's really what the company looks for. You know, the company doesn't go, oh man, I need you to be 10-0. You know, if you're boring and you're 10-0, the
Yeah,
company doesn't even really prioritize that as much as somebody who's exciting, but they're 5-5. You know, I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand about this bare knuckle game is it's not necessarily about just getting the win by whatever means. It is an entertainment business.
yeah. It reminds me of the music business so much because record labels they care about your social media following more than anything, and that's a big part of probably selling your tickets and stuff like that is your social media following.
Yeah,
And
I've been fortunate,
so
man. You know, this camp out in Tennessee, I think I'm at just under $20,000 worth of tickets, and you know that's far
oh,
from me.
that's good.
That's about 4.5 hours away from where I live. So I got a lot of people that support me, and they'd go wherever, you know, especially in Atlanta. Atlanta, I can definitely move some tickets. I only had 3 weeks to sell tickets last camp when they came to Atlanta, but I still cleared 50,000. So I think if I had a good month and a half, I think I could really, you know, knock on that door of 80 to $90,000 worth of tickets. Especially if, I mean, dude, if you get like a Brian Duran and Nathan
Yeah,
Rivera fight, you could sell that
yeah,
here, you
yeah.
could sell that in Miami, you could sell that wherever, you know, but especially either Georgia or Miami, I think all of our fans would come out.
So you fight in one state over. I stay in North Carolina, Fayetteville, North Carolina. We call it
Nice.
Vietnam. Did you fight in the last Georgia BKFC event?
I did. Yeah, it was the first,
Yeah.
it was the inaugural BKFC event. I fought Justin Street.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
actually my only, Justin Street's a tough guy. That was my only decision win.
What was that like for you fighting in your home? Is this your home state, Georgia, or were you born
It
somewhere else?
is. I was born in Southern California, but I've been
Okay.
living in Georgia since I've been, you know, 7 years old.
Yeah, so it's home. Yeah.
It's home. It's home, man. Yeah, and dude, it was awesome fighting here. I mean, it was we were in the Gas South Arena. It held 11,000 people. It was man, it was one of those things where you walk out and there's fat heads in the crowd. I mean, it was like, you know, $50,000 worth of tickets was a lot. So there was everybody that was coming out. I mean, it was loud, man. The whole
Yeah.
crowd was cheering, yeah, you know, chanting Nathan. It was really fun.
Well, hopefully we get it legalized in North Carolina, and they'll more likely have to have you fight on that card too, because you're right. It's like just the state over, man.
Yeah, we're neighbors, man. I didn't know that they weren't legal there. I thought they were legal. Oh, maybe it was
Not
South
yet.
Carolina. South Carolina
Yeah,
is legal,
South
right?
Carolina is. Yeah.
Man, yeah,
But I
I
don't think
think
South Carolina is a good market. I don't think it's a really good market. They would do like the prospect series at Myrtle Beach, but I don't. That's not really to me a good market. Like Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, where I'm at, is a good market because of military. Raleigh, Charlotte. There's just so many good markets. I think in North Carolina, we got the universities and we got a lot of military bases.
nice.
So
Oh man, military folks love fighting, man.
yeah,
They would
yeah,
love it, man. Dude, I think are
yeah.
you gonna come out to the Tennessee show?
No, I wish I could, man. I really wish I
Okay.
could. Tony Loco Soto's fighting out there. He even though he's from Brooklyn, I look at him as a North Carolinian because he fights out of North Carolina. So
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good show, man. I
yeah,
if they come to, you know, this side of town in the southeast, I always try to make it out because it's not often that they come over North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. They don't really come over here that much. So hopefully we can make
nope.
it a good showing and maybe have them over here a little bit more.
I'm definitely gonna be tuning in, and we doing the recaps now, so we definitely will be recapping, man. So
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a
yeah,
blast to get to know you and
anytime,
talk to
man.
you. Absolutely, man.
Anytime. Nice to meet you, man, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Stay blessed.
All right, peace.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, there you have it, Nathan, the Reaper, Rivera. It is the Rivera era, and I want to go over some of this card before I exit out because it's the 8th. So today the card, yeah, 11 days, 8 hours and 31 minutes and 30 seconds away. Just go over some of the card. Of course, you got Tony Loco Soto versus JC De Leon is the main event, and then co-main event is Nathan the Reaper Rivera versus Trey Martin. Um, like he said, I mean Trey Martin, if he wins, he has everything to gain, and Nathan has a lot to lose. I mean he's 5-0 and he's ranked number 2. We got Bobby Taylor, which I versus Angel Hernandez. Tune in later at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I got Bobby Taylor. We're coming back on later at 7 p.m. We'll have Bobby Taylor on, and we'll talk more about this card and his opponent. We got Prince McLean versus Jeremy Karshner. Cole Farrell versus Anthony Foy, and Anthony fights out of North Carolina as well. He's looking to go to 3-4. Cole's looking to go to 2-1. You got Raven Baxter versus Junior Hicks. Jabori Murphy versus Damian Black. Caleb Harvey versus Joshua Whiteside. They finally got a picture of Caleb Harvey up there. Go check out the interview I did with Joshua Whiteside as well, where we talked about his up and coming fight with Caleb Harvey. And Caleb Harvey, I ain't gonna lie, that dude looks like he's gonna bring it. We got Zach Roos versus Kelvin Rayford. Look like some fights have been changed. Or maybe they didn't have the pictures of these guys before, and that's what it was. That's what it was. They had the pictures of these guys, and now they got the pictures. Peyton Hayes versus Julian Valencia, and then you got Devin Hostler versus Joby Steffensmeyer, who debuted against Smash and got fight of the night, but he did lose. But that was a little banger. It's got to be a good thing to get a debut and get a fight of the night bonus. Yeah, so that's the card. And like I said, later we got Bobby Taylor as well, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll probably be all the interviews I do for this week on the bare knuckle side. If y'all into the hip hop thing, go follow me on Live for Vietnam on all the same platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. I got an interview coming up with one of the UMCs from back in the 80s and 90s of hip hop. They had a #1 hit single, Blue Cheese. Shouts out to Nathan for taking the time out. I know he got a busy schedule, still 11 days to go, so you gotta stay focused. He gotta stay on point and be focused on the task at hand, which is winning his fight versus Trey Martin, and then fighting who they bring him next. And hopefully it's a ranked guy. I'd like to see him. One of these. They had a lot of these ranked guys fighting each other, so they need to have a lot of. You could have a couple. You could have Nathan versus James Brown. You could have Duran versus Edgard, or you could flip flop that. However, you want to do it. But I'd like to see some of those as well. Yeah. So this is June 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it starts. BKFC Fight Night, Nashville, Soto versus De Leon, and Nathan the Reaper Rivera versus Trey Martin in the co-main event. And of course, feature fight. Bobby Taylor is the feature fight versus Angel Hernandez, who's 1-0, looking to go to 2-0. Bobby Taylor's 6-3, looking to go to 7-3, which is a pretty good record in bare knuckle. Well, appreciate y'all tuning in. Let's see who all tuned in. We had Cole Red, we had the Vananskis, Big Ben 316, um, Harlem Games. Shouts out to my man, Mr. Jones. Shouts out to Zach Calmus, the Shark. Zach, it's been a while since I interviewed you. I need to have you on again. I know you over in the BKB, but that's all good. We can still interview you. Arena Wars, appreciate you. Shouts out to my man, OG Millionaire. OG Prestige finally woke up from his gummy. Yeah, so we about to wrap it up. I got an interview later at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna get off here, clip up some of these clips, and put out some of these interview clips with Nathan. Let's see what the comments was. We had OG tune in, appreciate you. Tune in on Instagram and Facebook. That's how you do, man. Um, yep. And before I go, man, once again, man, rest in peace to Ron, man, Daughtery, Savage Combat Sports, man. We still in the fight, man. Sad day in the BKFC community, and a sad day in general, man. Like I'm getting at the age, I'm 47, man, where everybody I grew up watching or listening to is dying, man. And it sucks, man. It sucks. A lot of people is going. a lot of hip hop artists, a lot of celebrities we grew up listening to, just a lot of people we grew up knowing in general are just it's just going, man. But just a sad day, man. Appreciate everybody that tuned in, man, and tune back in at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then also Thursday 7 p.m. on the live from Vietnam as well. Peace, and I'm out.